time for the Bleed Los Podcast with your hosts, Alonso and Juan, Alicia Del Valle, and the baby-faced gimmick in the sky, Roger.
Hola, damas y caballeros, and welcome to another edition of the Bleed Los Podcast. This week's podcast is presented by our partners at BetOnline. Hope everyone is doing their bets, because I know Juanito did and he did not win. But BetOnline remains your number one source for all of your sports betting this season. Everything from pro and college basketball to UFC, MMA, and more. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your sports, favorite sports leagues and events. So if you head on over to their website today, which is betonline.ag, you will receive a 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. So make sure you use our promo code, which is BLEAV, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. I couldn't read that without my glasses, so apologies if you had to see my phone. If you can't tell, if you're watching this, we are at Dodger Stadium, and we're here for a special reason. We're here to discuss this guy named Fernando Valenzuela and retiring the 34. So without further ado, here is Fernando Valenzuela. We're very lucky to be sitting here in my Disneyland, as I call it, the happiest place on earth, Dodger Stadium, Blue Heaven. But we're here with the legend, a man that means a lot to the community and a lot to everyone here on this podcast, of course, Fernando Valenzuela. Fernando, buenos días, ¿cómo está?
I'm okay. I'm fine. Good. Gracias. Todo bien. Saludos. Hola.
Le quería preguntar, obviamente van a retirar su número. Obviamente ya tiene mucho tiempo que estábamos esperando eso también, ¿verdad? Pero para usted personalmente, ¿qué quiere decir eso, el retiro del número 34 de Fernando Valenzuela?
Fíjate que a mí me agarró sorpresa lo que sucedió hace algunos días cuando anunciaron el retiro, ¿no? Que lo iban a retirar el número y pues nunca esperaba eso. Yo sabía que en ocasiones a mí me preguntaban qué iba a pasar con el número, por qué no lo retiraban, y la verdad es que pues no estaba en mis manos, ¿no? Entonces, pero sí me sentí contento, gusto. Yo creo que más que nada, no solamente en lo personal, pero sí yo creo que el aficionado, tanta gente que estaba pues preguntando sobre eso, bueno, ahí está la respuesta, y creo que Dyer se dio cuenta de esa situación y todo ese apoyo que siempre la gente ha brindado tanto para el equipo como pues cuando tuvimos la oportunidad de jugar también.
No, sí, y de hecho usted es una persona humilde, porque igualmente venimos de Pueblo Chico, ¿verdad? Del municipio de Navajoa. Obviamente su número ya está retirado allá en México y eso es un honor tremendo. Obviamente no se pueden comparar los honores, pero el honor de lo que quiere decir para esta ciudad es algo tremendo. Entonces yo le quería decir personalmente que felicidades, primeramente, porque lo que usted es para todo. Pero el retiro del número en México es algo que siempre yo encontraba interesante, y por qué no lo hacían aquí, ¿verdad? Pero obviamente es por el protocolo y todo eso, ¿verdad? El deporte mexicano, el deporte en México, vamos a decir, todo eso, para usted, ¿qué es la importancia de eso también allá?
No, es importante porque realmente solamente un número estaba retirado, el de Héctor Espino, un tremendo jugador, jonronero, o sea, muy completo. No me tocó en su época, pero sí creo que fue un tremendo jugador, y es el número 21 que estaba retirado en lo que se refiere a la liga de verano, ¿no? La liga de verano. Entonces, cuando anunciaron hace como unos 3, 4 años atrás, también que iban a retirar de todos los equipos el número 34, bueno, pues yo creo que es algo difícil de explicar, ¿no? Porque realmente pues uno lo siente, que el apoyo, ¿no? de lo que uno realizó en la carrera, yo creo que ahora está saliendo, ¿no? Lo que uno siempre trató de hacer para el bien del béisbol, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que en México, bueno, yo vine de allá, yo jugué en esa liga y pues fue un gran honor también al ser retirado mi número allá.
Speaking of great honors, someone that understands some of that stuff, Alicia Del Valle. But passing the baton.
Que puro español.
See, he knows it too well. I just want to make sure that you have a good time because that's what we're about here at the Blilos. Don't make fun of me. And just what a great honor it is to be able to talk to you, especially after the retiring. Something that we here at Blilos have just been fighting for and pushing for. These guys started a campaign. I'm not sure if they are trying to be humble themselves, which they're usually not. But we know you are very personal and very humble. Now, my question is, when did you know that they were going to retire your number? And if you didn't know ahead of the Fan Fest, were you surprised? I mean, was there even any discussion? I mean, I want a little behind the scenes action.
You know what? The first time was about a couple days, maybe, 2 days before the Fan Fest. That's when they announced, well, I have a meeting over here in the stadium with the Stan Kasten, the president of the club, and he said, I got a good news for you. I say, what is it? And he said, we're going to retire your number. And I say, wow, unbelievable. My first reaction was that, because that was hard for me to believe it, but that's happened. But first thing to say, yeah, but nobody gonna know this one to the Fan Fest. We're gonna announce that one, and I say that's fine, okay. But that was short.
So you
Sure
were
an answer for me.
surprised. You were surprised, and we were all surprised.
Yes.
I mean, we thought about
You're
boycotting.
not surprised.
Well, yes. I was very surprised because we had Stan Kasten on the Blilos podcast. And he didn't say no, but he didn't give us any clue. So, right, guys? Am I wrong? We had no idea that they, meaning the Dodgers, were even entertaining the idea. So, this was huge. This, reverberated. I mean, everybody stopped what they were doing and said, what? Because for so long, am I wrong? The word was we can't do it, which is it's out of our hands. And then we were going to push for a statue. Would you like a statue outside of Dodger Stadium?
Step by step. First, let's see
All right, I'll stop being pushy.
how it's gonna looks the number over there.
Right, I can't help it.
But
that's how important you are to our community.
Yeah, a lot of support from the community, exactly, and I appreciate that one because in any player, any career, when you have that kind of supporting, I think that's make to do those works or play better without supporting, of course. And you never know. Let's wait, see what happens.
Okay, I'm pushy like that. I just want it all while we're here. I'm going to hand it over to Juan because I know he's been waiting for this day so long.
Mira, Fernando, todos los que vienen en el programa, yo siempre les pregunto si son fanáticos de los Dodgers, cómo se hicieron fanáticos de los Dodgers. Y todos tienen el mismo cuento. Pues es que en mi familia nosotros vimos los Dodgers porque estaba pichando Valenzuela. Ya son más de 40 años desde que usted pichó para los Dodgers, cuando inició con los Dodgers. Yo, mi abuelo en paz descanse, con mi papá nos sentábamos. Yo vivía en Orange County. Yo tenía los angelitos allí al lado. Pero porque mi abuelo y mi papá, nosotros veíamos los Dodgers y cada vez que usted lanzaba, nosotros allí estábamos viendo el partido o escuchando en el radio. Porque si estaba en casa no lo podíamos ver en la televisión. Es mucha presión para usted, tantos años, tener, toda la gente que viene y diga, yo soy fanático de este equipo por usted.
No, yo creo que no es, al contrario, es un halago porque realmente eso indica que lo que uno hizo en el juego le gustó a la gente. Y yo creo que eso realmente es lo que uno trata de hacer. Porque el béisbol es bonito, pero a la vez es un entretenimiento. Entonces yo creo que cada uno de los integrantes de cualquier equipo siempre tienen que dar el 100% y para que esa gente que va o viene a los estadios pues disfrute, ¿no? Y sea un pasatiempo agradable ya sea con toda la familia. Entonces yo creo que eso es lo que siempre, al menos yo siempre traté de hacer, ¿no? De darle lo mejor para que se divirtieran, para que estuvieran siempre pues a gusto. Y yo creo que el béisbol siempre reúne más a la familia. Y yo creo que eso es lo que uno siempre trata de hacer, ¿no? De hacer lo mejor posible para que las familias estén bien.
Yo les he preguntado a mucha gente, por primera vez, ya cuando retiran, cuando pongan el número aquí, la gente cuando entra a Dodger Stadium, van a ver el micrófono de Harry y van a ver el 34. Van a ver 2 latinos allí. Y esto es Los Ángeles. La mayoría del estadio, para mí, son latinos, los que apoyan a los Dodgers. Y para mí es muy importante que estamos reconociendo el impacto de los latinos para este equipo. ¿Usted ha pensado cuando entren en el estadio, uno que nunca lo vio lanzar, le van a contar la historia de Fernando Valenzuela? Teniéndolo allí, usted ya va a vivir por siempre.
Sí, fíjate que yo al principio de mi carrera yo visité muchas escuelas desde el primer grado, porque eso es lo que quería hacer, ¿no? De inculcarles lo importante que es la educación. Entonces, siempre que teníamos la oportunidad durante las temporadas íbamos y visitábamos escuelas para decirles, ¿no? Más o menos qué tan importante es obtener una carrera por medio del estudio, ¿no? Y siempre le comparaba, porque 2 o 3 siempre hacían la pregunta, sí, pero a ti te ha ido muy bien en el deporte. Sí, pero acuérdense de una cosa, que en el estudio, ahí siempre se va a ganar. En el deporte vas a ganar y perder. Y otra de las cosas es que en el estudio es para siempre. En el deporte puedes tener una lesión y terminó todo. Entonces es por eso muy importante para todos ustedes, a los jóvenes, a los niños, que el estudio es importante, es para siempre. Y eso es lo que siempre he tratado de hacer, inculcar más que nada a la juventud, todo eso.
Una de las últimas cosas que siempre les digo a gente, por cual usted es muy importante para mí, es porque ustedes tienen la historia clásica de un inmigrante. Usted vino a este equipo, no hablaba el idioma,
y todavía.
Y hizo un trabajo. Usted y siempre le recuerdo a la gente que la historia de usted no es de solamente un lanzador, un pelotero. Es una historia de un inmigrante que tuvo éxito, y para eso usted es un héroe en nuestra comunidad.
Sí, siempre es difícil, ¿no? Porque en muchas ocasiones, bueno, se busca lo mejor en este país, que hay las oportunidades, pero yo creo que también uno tiene que poner parte, ¿no? Para que las cosas sean como uno quiere, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que se tiene que tener mucho sacrificio en cualquier ramo, en cualquier trabajo. Yo creo que no fue nada más del 81 para arriba. Hubo otras cosas sacrificios de buscar otras ligas, de buscar otras oportunidades, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que esa es la parte más difícil de uno no rendirse, sino que seguir adelante, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que eso es lo que siempre quise hacer, ¿no? Entonces, si yo quiero lograr algo, yo tengo que sacrificarme en todo lo que venga. Y ahorita que estamos hablando de los niños también, porque me he encontrado ya adultos que me dicen, yo recuerdo fuiste a mi escuela y por ti ahorita soy doctor o soy licenciado. O sea que con esa plática siguieron los estudios y son profesionistas ahorita. Eso me llena a mí más de alegría, de que ese tiempo que tuve con ellos, pues dio fruto, sirvió de algo.
Me da un chingo de orgullo que voy a poder entrar a este estadio, ver el 34 y decir, ese es un mexicano y allí nos representa a todos nosotros, ¿verdad, Alonso?
Well, a serious question, Fernando. How much of that do you think Alicia
Oh, the
understood?
other one wasn't serious.
How much of that do you think Alicia just understood in Spanish?
I understood a lot of it, sucker.
We have
We're
to give her a
gonna,
hard
we're
time.
gonna make her to speak a
We
little
should,
bit
huh?
more.
We should.
Yeah.
Español sin barreras.
Yeah.
We're gonna-
We should take her out to el palenque. Entonces Juan refiere acá al pavilion como el palenque para que nada más comunique en español. But I digress. Una pregunta para usted. Obviamente, yo lamentablemente no pude vivir en el 81 porque yo todavía no he nacido. Yo oí esas historias de mi papá porque mi papá venía al palenque, me da las historias, pagaba $3 para venir a verlo lanzar. Era fiesta y todo eso, ¿verdad? Pero ¿cómo era ese ambiente para usted en ese tiempo? Porque obviamente todo el mundo habla de cómo era para ellos, pero ¿cómo era para usted?
Al principio bastante difícil, inclusive no sé si fue lo mejor para mí de estar en ligas menores. Bueno, yo creo que sí fue lo mejor, ¿no? Porque yo duré poco tiempo en ligas menores, 5 meses nada más, y después me llegué al equipo de aquí de Los Ángeles. Entonces, yo creo que eso también me ayudó a obtener más confianza en mí mismo. Entonces, pero sí, bastante difícil porque lo hablamos ahorita al principio, el idioma muy difícil, pero siempre he pensado que el idioma del béisbol es universal, o sea, ahí no se tiene que tener mucha comunicación sobre eso. Entonces yo creo que, pero pues, ¿qué te puedo decir? Difícil. Muchos dicen que a mí no me gusta hablar mucho con el medio informativo, ¿no? Entonces, no es que no quiera, sino que yo quiero estar seguro primero de cómo voy a desenvolverme en diferentes partes, ¿no? En diferentes medios. Y en ese momento sí era bastante difícil porque teníamos que ir antes de las ciudades donde iba el equipo a jugar un día antes para hacer las conferencias de prensa y eso era un poquito más no fácil, pero sí me ayudaba más, ¿no? Para después cuando el equipo llegaba, bueno, ya tenía la oportunidad de entrenar con ellos, ¿no?
Sí,
O sea, no desligarme del equipo.
sí,
Porque
sí.
yo creo que eso es muy importante, ¿no? De estar siempre unido con el equipo, porque eso es lo que es.
Sí.
Un grupo que siempre para que sobresalga, siempre tiene que estar unido.
Y para usted, porque mucha gente se le olvida que usted era un September call-up, vino en el 80 y más bien es cuando empezó todo eso, ¿verdad? Pero para usted, cuando vino en septiembre y todavía empezó la temporada, para usted, y se oye la historia, que cada persona tiene su big leaguer, de que quien le enseñó el camino, ¿verdad? Para usted, ¿quién era ese big leaguer?
Yo creo que principalmente yo creo que mi familia, mis hermanos, cuando yo llegué al béisbol fue por ellos, porque yo realmente a mí no me llamaba mucho la atención, entonces fue donde ya empecé a meterme más en serio, porque yo cuando hago algo o quiero hacer algo, quiero estar el 100% adentro, o sea, en lo que quiero hacer siempre, no decir a ver qué pasa.
Sí.
No, yo sé que tengo que sobresalir, sino tratar de sobresalir. Por eso siempre cuando llegas a un nivel, siempre nunca pensar acá, siempre ir aquí paso por paso, ir mejorando cada vez más. Y eso a la vez te va dando experiencia para cuando llegas a lo alto, a lo que buscas, ¿no? Que es en este caso Grandes Ligas, ¿no? Entonces, yo creo que esa es la preparación más que nada para cualquier jugador.
Sí. Sí. Speaking of the big leagues, Alicia. Passing the baton.
Español,
Pero en español sí, lo tiene.
Spanglish.
igual que el mío. Spanglish.
Pochachola right here. We've never hit that fact, right?
No, there we go.
¿Usted sabe que el apodo de ella o conoce el apodo de ella de nosotros?
No.
Es la princesa de Picolandia. Entonces es Pochachola.
Pochachola. We don't need to get into the history of why my Spanish sucks. 'Cause this is a day of celebration.
It's
That's
true.
right.
And we don't
Okay.
have enough time.
My
That's right.
parents wanted to. They got punished, all right?
Fair.
Oh, look at he's like rolling his eyes already. Okay, so we know how you don't like to do these things, and we thank you, especially here at the Cathedral of Baseball, Dodger Stadium. I know that you're still working with the Dodgers, which we are so fortunate. I also know that you have your own team in Mexico, and I don't think you talk about that enough. Quintana Roo, the Tigres, season's coming up. Is that out of love? Is that out of love for the game, or is it a financial decision, or hopefully both? What's going on with the Tigres?
more is we get in because I like the game,
Yeah.
and I can see a lot of young players. They have a lot of talent, but they never have the opportunity to play.
Right.
So that's the reason we try to make it and give him more chance to play. And I think that's the only way, to be better and better. So yeah, Tigres de Quintana Roo, Cancún.
Cancun. I'm
Así
thinking we
es.
need a field trip,
Yeah,
right? A
yeah.
Bleed Los podcast
So-
field trip.
I support that
So that's
suggestion.
that's the team. I got that one for this is gonna be my 7 years,
Wow.
and it's not easy, but well, we get in, and now we have to deal with that one. But
I love that.
yeah, the spring training is gonna start March 16, a few days, and season start for Tigres the 21st April.
Awesome.
Yeah, the team is
And it's a
it's good.
family business. ¿Que no?
yeah family business. Sí.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love everything about that.
Yeah.
He brought up spring training. So can we talk a little bit about the Dodgers spring training?
Yeah. I was over there for
I saw that.
how many 4 or 5 games, something like that, and the team got a lot of talent. I think it's gonna be good for the future. Good pitching. They have good arms, and I think those young players is gonna be the future for the Dodgers. I think that's maybe the plans for the Dodgers, taken little by little.
Hmm.
But I think a couple of those ones, though, I are watching pitch, and I think they're ready. They're ready to come in over here.
I love it. Any predictions for how the Dodgers season will go?
Yeah. I think main thing is stay away from injuries. I think that's the point because we lost a couple players, good players, the Turners, but I think it's going to be another players coming up, and J.D. Martinez, now they're using DH, and so I think it's going to be perfect over there. And the team, I think to win games, you got to play like it is, team. No depend by 1 or 2 players.
Gotcha.
Gotta be, everybody has to put their part.
You got to get in the dugout and tell them that. I know you're working, but dang, we need some more of that.
No, they do that. They do
Yeah,
that, and
yeah.
I think
We're very
that's-
lucky to
yeah,
be Dodger
exactly.
fans. We're very lucky.
Yeah. Queremos respetar su tiempo, Fernando. Muchas gracias. Vamos a terminar el programa de la manera que terminamos todos nuestros programas. Nosotros aquí en el Bleed Los Podcast somos todos Dodgers, Los Ángeles, pero más importante son los tacos. A nosotros nos encantan los tacos. Nosotros queremos saber cuál es su favorito taco y a dónde va a comprar ese taco.
Bueno, era años atrás. Y ahora ya no tanto, pero sí años atrás. En creo que estaba en el este de Los Ángeles. No recuerdo ahorita el nombre, pero sí, cuando hay oportunidad. unos
¿Pero es un
taquitos
taco
no
de
queda
carne,
llamar.
de carne asada?
Carne
o-
asada.
Son-
Y la carne bien cocida.
Está bueno.
Pero una
Así es.
pregunta por parte de mi amigo acá, Juan.
Sí.
¿Por qué no tiene confianza en la tortilla de harina? Somos de norte, allá obviamente la tortilla de
Norte
harina
también.
es como es. ¿Cuál es su tortilla de preferencia?
Pues yo voy
Lo puede ofender, está bien, lo
There's
puede
no right or
ofender.
wrong.
Yeah.
Norte también.
A mí
No,
me
sí,
gustan las
mira,
de maíz.
Mira, sí, yo creo que a mí también.
Oh, man.
Pero yo creo que la combinación es buena. O
Sí.
sea, de harina son buenísimos.
Sí.
Son buenísimos, pero también yo creo que depende en muchas ocasiones también el ingrediente que le pongas a,
Exacto.
como la salsa bandera. ¿Sabes, no? ¿Cuál
Sí,
es
sí,
esa?
sí.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
sí.
Explícale.
Come on, I know. There are some things that are completely.
Machaca la de Chihuahua.
See, he does know my family's from Chihuahua. Whatever.
Pero no, yo creo que toda la comida que tenemos mexicana es tremenda. Mucha variación
The best.
de comida.
The best.
Sí es.
No, y con eso, como le dijo mi compañero Juan, sabemos que no hace mucho de eso, le agradecimos muchísimo, pero más bien le felicitamos, más que nada,
Sí.
por el honor que usted va a recibir aquí en la Catedral de todo béisbol. Pero muchísimas gracias, Fernando, por parte de todos nosotros y felicidades.
No, muchas gracias por esta oportunidad que me das, Alfonso. Gracias, Alicia, gracias. Thank you.
Thank you.
Y Juan, gracias. Con las de,
El
con
Johnny,
las de
el
harina
Johnny,
por allá.
el Johnny.
Sí, es de que gracias a todos y pues para mí ha sido un placer estar hablando con todos ustedes aquí y bueno, comentando sobre algunas cositas que pues en ocasiones se quedan un poquito al lado, pero gracias y gracias por todo ese apoyo que siempre han brindado al equipo y en lo personal también. Muchas gracias, les agradezco.
Gracias, Fernando. That was weird, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, because that was a weird full circle thing for me personally, and I know for Roger too, but I know for you. Not so much for Alicia because you know the guy.
What? But this is an interview that I've been trying to get for my 19 years in broadcasting. And finally, so yes, this guy picking on me all day.
Hey, first of all, I mean, you
You're
are...
ruining my aloha vibes. first
Well,
of all.
you ruined those on your own for other
I
reasons we
know.
can't discuss at this time. But honestly,
It was
that...
pretty epic.
But I mean, I have to say that it's weird because we've talked about this for 40 years and for 30 plus years almost, the retirement, right? And now it's finally happened. Obviously, better late than never.
Yeah.
But Roger, for you, because I know how much this means to you, what was that like for you? Obviously, you weren't in the video. For those that don't know, he's behind camera.
No, I mean, it's pretty special. I mean, just to have Fernando, you know, willing to do our podcast, right? I mean, we've been talking about this since we started, right? One of the things we like, why isn't this number retired, right? Why isn't this number retired? And that's one of the things that we felt, man, we got to get that number retired, right? Somehow if we can somehow get the word out, hey, this number needs to be retired. And, you know, that's kind of what we started doing. And we talked to Stan Kasten. We asked him about it. And everybody, like Juan said, we talked to everybody. Like, that number should be retired, right? Everybody, yeah, it should. And just finally to see it happen at FanFest, I mean, it was like, whoa, it's actually happening. And then to be able to sit here with Fernando, you know. Off the air, you guys saw, I showed him a book that it's pretty special to me because, like I said, I got that book when I was probably 10 years old at a book fair for school. And
Scholastic.
yeah, one of those book
Shout
fairs.
out. Shout out
Shout out
Scholastic.
Scholastic.
And, you know, and
Scholastic dollars.
Right.
and whatever, I lost track of it. You know, I knew it was at my parents' house, and then when my dad passed away in 16, like I found it in his drawer, and I'm like, man, he kept this all that time. Like, and it just means, you know, like I said, it's a family thing. Like, he's the one that showed me, and everybody you see out here is like, why are you a fan? Like, if they're in their 20s, 30s, oh, my dad or my grandpa, right?
Yeah.
So, it's just it's crazy, man. It's come full circle, like you said.
Well, and for me, what's full circle about it, I wasn't alive when all the Fernando Mania stuff happened. But my dad would tell me the stories. You know, my uncles who don't care about sports would tell me the stories, right? My dad did because he played, he's an athlete, but my uncles and he reminds me a lot of my uncles, by the way. Just the way that he conducts himself, and he's very...
The leather jacket.
The leather jacket, yeah. And the headphones, the hardwired headphones.
Yes.
And so it was, and then just, again, my dad would tell me these stories. He'd come here, you know, my dad came here when he was 21 to the States, and he'd, bust his ass to work, and then he'd come and spend $3, which at the time was a lot of money, to come sit down at Palenque and watch Fernando go on his go days. And just el ambiente and everything that was going on those days. And I know we didn't get, I wanted to ask him, but we just, we were pressed for the time. I wanted to ask him what, the ambiente is now with the mariachis y todo eso, right? Because that's what, like when my dad tells me those stories, that's what I think el ambiente was like, right? Obviously that wasn't the case. It was different. But it's just crazy to think that how it just ties into the culture, right? To la cultura, it just ties in, the classic immigrant story, like you said. Yeah. That's the perfect way to put it, rags to riches, because that's ultimately what it is.
Yeah.
But even for the Chicanos, the Mexican Americans, which you so blatantly...
The pochos?
Yes, the pochos and the pochas.
Pochachola?
Pochachola. He was important because of seeing someone like us on television, of seeing the love for him, of seeing... Because, I was born here, my parents were born here, but we didn't have anybody to look to on television. We're talking sports, news, Hollywood, right? And if you made it in Hollywood, you had to change your last name. No, Fernando got to be Fernando. And he did it, and he just wowed the world with that first year. Yeah. He brought Latinos back to the stadium.
He wasn't Fernando Valens, right?
No.
Valens? No.
But that's what you had to do to be successful in Hollywood and stuff, is change your name.
Freddie Prinze.
Raquel Welch.
Yeah.
Rita Hayworth. I mean, I could go on and on. Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter.
Linda Carter is from Chihuahua. Shout out. So I'm just saying, he transcended baseball. I know everyone has heard that before, but to be here and have him agree to do the podcast, because he doesn't do this very often.
No.
Right?
No,
and he's so gracious. He's so humble. He does not like to talk about himself. I mean, we could tell, right? I wanted to ask him, for all of the love that you get, from the Dodgers and Dodger fans and baseball fans and Mexico fans, because they retired his number a while ago.
Yeah.
How was the city treating you just off that? Was LA been good to you since you've been off the mound,
Yeah.
Because we don't get to hear from him. We don't get to, know where he hangs out and stuff. He's a very private man. So that means even more to me that he made time for us today. And the Dodgers gave us time with him. So, got to give love to the Dodgers.
Yeah, shout out to the Dodgers. I mean, we're in a suite of theirs, for hell's sakes.
I know.
So shout out to the Dodgers.
Has anyone checked the bar? I'm just kidding.
They're going to ask us to leave, Alicia, if you keep that up.
I'm still on Aloha vibes, okay? I literally came home early from Hawaii just for this. Like, this is huge. My dad was trying to tag along, by the way. And I was speaking with Haley over here. Hi, Haley.
Shout out to Haley.
Shout out to Haley.
Nicole, give a shout out to Haley.
I'm just so happy. I was telling her how I stepped away and watched you guys with Fernando, and how grown men turn into young baseball fans again. And my dad did the same when he met Fernando. He was like trying to shake his hand and make sure he was in.
See, but for me, it's a respect thing, though, because he is your encompassing Latino guy, right? Like you respect the elders. That's the big thing in our culture. So for me, that. I mean, he smells like my elders. So I mean, it's one of those where it's like
he smells good. Make sure you.
He does smell. I'm not knocking the smell. But I mean, but I think that's something that I think societally we've also shied away from, right? Is that
respecting our elders.
Yeah. So, but you're right. I mean, it's kind of what I don't really get. I mean, you guys know what I do for work. I don't really get starstruck. That was. There's only been one other instance, and I was pretty starstruck with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that tells you the importance he is to la cultura.
Yeah, well, but again, he transcends. Even if you don't like baseball, you know who Fernando Valenzuela is, right?
Yes.
So.
Yes.
And Juan, I know you were.
And he wore his shirt.
It's a dream come true.
Look, objectivity went completely out the door with me. I wore my Valenzuela T-shirt. I mean, this is the guy. He is the guy.
He's the guy.
Why I am a Dodger fan, and in a certain sense, Roger, it is kind of really. It's hard to say that it's not a sentimental moment that I'm sitting here talking to him, because all I could think of is my grandfather. Because, that's the relationship I had with my grandfather, was through baseball. So sitting with my grandfather, watching the Dodger games, and getting the chance to talk to him, and it's just like, you're right. I felt the same way when I was talking to the maestro Jaime Jarrin, because those to your point, I think, Alicia, it takes us back to being kids. And they always say, right, don't grow up. If you have that kid in you, keep it alive as long as you can. Don't ever lose sight of it. And that's the thing, right? I mean, baseball is a kid's game. And we're grown adults, and we come here, and yes, we're like ridiculous. We get mad when the team loses, and we're just completely illogical, and we lose sight of the fact that these are human beings out here playing this game. But to sit here and be able to actually talk to them and talk to him about something that, like you said, we've wanted this for him for so long to get that number retired. I wish we had more time with him. Yes, he doesn't do these things, so I'm going to appreciate the few minutes that he did give us. I would love to have been able to ask him about Mitch Poole, because Mitch Poole was the guy who refused to give out the number after Valenzuela left. I asked this question before, and I don't know if we had an answer, but if Mitch Poole wouldn't have done that, and let's say someone would have won 34, and they would have had some success, do they still retire Valenzuela's number?
That's a great question.
That is a great question.
You know, so that's why for me this moment is, and apologies again. I suffer, as Memo Torres, friend of the carne asada, says, imposter syndrome. That's totally what I felt like today.
Yeah.
I'm not a journalist. I'm not sitting here going to ask, deep questions. It is me sitting here in front of a childhood idol and just letting. I was surprised at how gregarious he was with us, to tell you the truth.
He's super friendly, like one-on-one, and he's a big jokester.
He is, as he pointed out in.
He really. You're such a good sport, because he really went to town on you. But I mean, whenever I would see him in the press box, or even I see him around the stadium at FanFest or at some of the events, he's always got the headphones on.
Yeah.
Right? And I always interpreted that as he's a very shy person. And like you had said, he doesn't like talking about himself. And can you imagine? I mean, there's still grown-ass people that walk up to him like he's still playing in the league right now. Like he probably never gets a moment to himself when he goes out. I guess that's the price of fame, right? When you go out, you never do have a moment to yourself. So to sit here and actually listen to him talk to us like we were at a carne asada and he's just letting us know what he thinks, it was a surreal moment, to tell you the truth.
You know, Juan, what you said is interesting, because, you know, you'll have 40, 50-year-olds, right, go up to Fernando and be like, oh, wow, Fernando, right? Yeah. And then, I mean, he played 40 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Oh, longer than 40 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So even, like, the younger generation, they still go up, 20, 30-year-olds, because they know who he is. Yeah. Like, how many guys that played in 1981, they're walking around, most people are going to be like, wait, who is that guy, right?
Yeah.
Not many, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Fernando transcends that.
Yeah. There were like children with their parents, and it was generational, all standing there trying to get a picture and an autograph, and that was 2 weeks ago. So, I think the retiring of 34 is going to help younger people also, right? I mean, when you're sitting down there with your mom and dad or your tia, whomever, and you're like, who's that? Who's that? And now they're going to be able to be like, that's Fernando Valenzuela. Let me tell you a little story. It's going to be like that, Like legacy. I'm so happy for him.
Well, and to a point that Juan made, I don't even think it's that he's shy. Again, he reminds me a lot of like my dad and my uncles. It's just humble, right? Because you have humble beginnings. I mean, my dad's parents are the same. Eran campesinos. They're poor. They worked their way, up here. And, sending feria back to get everyone over, all, that traditional story you hear, right? But he's just a humble guy. He knows where he came from. He knows his roots. But he also, and that's why I asked him the question about the 34 being retired in the entire League of Mexico. Yeah. That's, like, there's only one other guy whose number had been retired. And even here, it's 42. Yeah. Not Roberto Clemente, not anyone else, even guys that have died, Thurman Munson, guys, it's just Jackie. Yeah. So I mean, that's a big ordeal, and for him to graciously even say, like, it's a big deal, but he didn't even try to compare apples to oranges, right?
Don't you think it's cool that he was surprised? Like they didn't warn him or ask him?
I think, but again, it's a testament to his humbleness.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that he was, because he's a professional. He's done well. He owns his own team in Mexico, and to still get surprised and be happy. I'm very happy for him. Is my point.
Yes.
Like I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when they told him that.
But well, and for the record too, it's not that he owns just any team in Mexico. It's one of the blue bloods in Mexico.
Yes.
So I mean, that's the other kind of. And again,
So we're going to Cancun, right?
Yeah, we're going to Cancun field trip.
I like how you just came back from vacation and you want to take another vacation.
Exactly.
It was not just a vacation.
And can we just
Work
talk about the
business.
fact that she went to Hawaii and it snowed in L.A.?
It did. It did. You guys
I
have the
mean-
weather I have at home.
Should we have not taken that as a sign?
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. La Princesa de Picolandia is not here and it snows in L.A.?
The sky
And
is
look how
falling.
beautiful it is. This is like a Santa Anita day. You guys have the rest of the day off?
Yes, Juan doesn't, but we do.
No, I don't have the rest of the day off. But I do want to acknowledge one thing. This is our season 3 premiere.
It is.
Woohoo!
We
So
haven't.
What a way to
if you
start.
believe it or not, we have been doing this show now. It's going to be our 3rd year doing this show.
This is also proof that they just let anyone do anything on the internet.
The internet is fantastic. The internet is great. It's awesome.
I just remembered something we did not ask him. We're straying away. If he likes the wave.
Oh,
What do
no,
you think he
that's
would've
what you
said?
wanted
But,
to ask.
yeah, let's say it's. Well, I mean, there was a bunch of stuff wanted to
Some
ask
people
him.
get heated about the wave.
They
I'm
do.
just going to wonder.
Juan is one of those people.
I really don't care about the wave. I mean, I don't do it. I don't participate in it, but
And
it
that's
doesn't
all
bother
we
me
ask.
because
But we should not poo-poo on people who want to do the wave.
That's true. I am not a part of the no fun party, and I think people should have fun.
yeah, exactly.
What before as we wrap this up, I'm kind of envious of people that are. I don't think I'll be able to be here, but the day that they retire the number, it's gonna. I mean, it's gonna. I hope that's what it is, right? Una fiesta. And I did want to ask him if he's kind of thought about that, but I also didn't because again, he's just so humble that I don't even think he would know how to answer that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think that day is going to be like?
I think you're right. I think it's going to be a giant party. And I mean, it's 3 days. It's 3 games.
And that's the reason I asked, because normally it's just like, oh, it's a day. It's a whole weekend.
Yeah, so there will be one game where you see the unveiling of the number, but then the next day they're giving out a bobblehead, and then they're giving out the 1981 World Series ring. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the Princesa de Picolandia
Oh, my God.
has a bag full of rings, of World Series rings that she stole from little kids the
Oh
night that
my
they were
God.
giving out rings at Dodger Stadium, the
Haley's
mystery box.
still here.
And I think there were some,
It's
some
not, hey,
81.
it's not, hey, he's still pissed that you didn't get him a
No,
ring.
I'm like, Haley is still
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, because I got a 1951 and she got all the good ones.
So
you
what's
know.
so what's
Now I'm going to have my face by the Dodger jail.
So
and
the
they're
cool
gonna be like, watch
so,
her on giveaway
so
day.
the cool thing about us having cameras is we can record Alicia getting escorted out of the stadium.
That's right. We can. Haley's gonna walk her out, but
The 81 is pretty dope.
But that's-
People were like trading, trying to get the 81.
see,
What?
she's just rubbing it in. She's rubbing it in. I wanted 88. I wanted the 88 ring so bad, and she has a whole bag
That's
full of
not
88 and
true.
81,
He did send us a picture, and I
And
did
then-
I
see a
was
full
the
bag.
only one that had a bag, so my
and it was clear. And that's
I
what
know,
she's like.
well-
No, I don't have more than one ring, Juan. I don't know what you're talking. I was like,
I offered to hold my friends in my bag.
I was like, Alicia, I can clearly see the bag is full of rings.
Alicia-
You have more than one ring.
Alicia, will that alibi hold up in court?
if
That's
I
a tough
could.
scene. That's a tough scene. Plead the fifth. Plead the fifth.
Okay, back to Fernando.
Yes,
Wow,
back to
that's gonna
Fernando.
be a party. So definitely, maybe they'll have like different mariachis staged throughout. You know, outside,
yeah.
inside.
Yes.
Maybe we have traditional dancers from
Well, look, get your tickets now.
Yes.
Because the
Folklorico.
longer it's going to be in August, so
Yes.
if you wait until August, I think those tickets they're going to be through the roof. I think
No,
it's
you
going to be
gotta
a
get 'em
hot.
now.
Bro, and the poor Rockies, they're just going to be just bombarded with
shoot.
just, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember they have to play another team.
That is true. And my condolences to the Colorado Rockies. They were
Yes.
just eliminated
Yes,
from
they
the 2023 Major League Baseball season. So sorry, Rocky fans. Maybe next year.
But it's interesting you say it's 3 days, right? It's a weekend.
That's a testament to him, though.
And the only other person I remember that they did anything like that was Vin Scully,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
Was Scully a whole
Yeah,
weekend?
they
a weekend.
did a whole weekend. When,
Oh.
But
I
again,
wanted to ask about Scully.
but it's a testament, though, to the importance of Fernando. And again, huge kudos to the Dodgers for acknowledging that. I mean, obviously, I don't think that they neglected it by any stretch. But I think they're real, the realization of, like Stan pointed out at FanFest, I get asked all the damn time. when are you going to retire 34?
That was us.
When the hell are you going to retire 34, right?
Exactly.
But that tells you, again, to where that guy is as far as the Mount Rushmore goes, right? And granted, Mount Rushmore's it's 4 heads, 5 heads,
Yes,
4. I mean, but the Dodger lore, it's hard, right? To move it around. But I mean, he's there. He's in the conversation.
Every guest we've had on Bleed Low says retire the number.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what team they played for or broadcasters, journalists, all said it.
And I will never forget when the homie Dale Murphy said he did not know that 34 was not retired.
That's right.
And he is as big of a historian baseball-wise as it comes. So for him to, be kind of flabbergasted, for lack of a better term, again, tells you where that stands. He played against the guy, so he knows. Well, we're going to wrap this up because they're going to kick us out.
Right.
And they're going to
we don't got to go home, but we got to get the hell out of here.
But they're also going to escort Alicia out. There's LAPD waiting outside. So, again, huge thanks to the Dodgers, Nicole Scheitzinger and her team, Haley, who's here.
Thank you, Haley.
We cannot thank you guys enough for facilitating all of this. Again, we're in a suite at Dodger Stadium that we will never be allowed back in again.
That's true.
But huge thanks to them. Huge thanks to Fernando. Again,
Campeón.
cannot thank him enough, but also cannot congratulate him enough because that's such a big honor. But this episode of the podcast, season 3, again, they let anyone do anything on the internet, man. They really do.
Great.
It was presented by our partners at BetOnline. If you head on over to betonline.ag and use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, you will get 50% off on your first deposit. So huge thanks to them. BetOnline, where the game starts. This is the Bleed Lows podcast. We're all together too, by the way. We also failed to acknowledge that.
Yeah, it was second time.
Second
time this year.
This year.
Yeah.
But that tells you that there's a budget now, so we can make it work.
We're moving on up.
We're moving on. Again, they let anyone do anything on the internet. So from the field tripper, Alicia del Valle, your boys Alonso y Juan, and the babyface gimmick in the sky, this is the Bleed Lows podcast, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and leave a review to the Bleed Lows Podcast. The Bleed Lows Podcast is a Dodgers Beat production.